here.
And Sam is in the studio here.
Good morning, Sam.
What do you got? What do you got, Sam? You got anything new for us today?
What's cooking?
Well, I'm not sick anymore. That's good.
Oh, that's always good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a one-day, huh?
Yeah,
One-day
it's
hit.
good. Doesn't happen often. But
No. Then maybe you were wrong about being sick.
Just faking it, really?
Maybe.
Yeah, just kind of gathering up a little sympathy by the two guys here in the other studio. That's fine.
You
I
have
get it.
no sympathy to offer, John.
Maybe he was just hungover.
Hung over 2 days after the party.
That's right. Well,
happens.
The embarrassment of carrying like 20 balloons on your bike. It would take me a week to get over
And now
that
the whole
one.
world knows about that because Catherine made me post it on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, you can check it out
You know,
there at the
if
John
you-
and Gordy Facebook
If you have a
page.
chance, you really have to see that. I mean, you would have to be a little high to think that you would do something like that in the first
I
place.
had a few at the party. It's an arcade bar, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did you play any arcade games that night?
I did, yeah. I played, I don't know, quite a few different games.
Yeah.
Some pinball games, too.
Said he lost badly. So
Yeah. Did you play any, John?
I didn't. No. Every one that I wanted to play had a line. So I don't like waiting for lines.
Jeez. I played Missile Command and Tempest and one other. I was going to play Galago, but I just never got over that on that side of the room.
You're not missing out. It just ate my quarters. It never let me play the game.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. Boy, it's cold out there today.
Yeah, it
Man,
is.
We got a cold snap going on.
You know, it feels a lot warmer when there isn't a wind. You know?
It's not as bad.
I had to go out in the yard and play with the Kraken.
Yeah.
And she was loving it when there wasn't a wind. When there was a wind, she wanted to cut it short a little bit there. So, and I'm glad because I wanted to leave immediately. We're kicking a ball out in the yard.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's just 3 degrees this morning. 3. That's
Yeah,
all.
3 degrees.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should we see what the afternoon high may be?
Well, I think so. That would be great
What
if we
should we
had the
do?
one-armed bandit this time around.
All right. Well, let's see if we can dial it.
All right.
Okay. First number is 019. 19 for a high today.
And change.
Change. Yeah. Get those tokens.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, just cold all day long, and then it's going to start getting a little nicer, I think. Yeah, we'll check in with Brittany Merlot later on. Merlot in the morning.
I'm glad we got all these other people working here at the station.
Are you?
Yeah, Maggie and Dom. I'm really glad that they're covering the hearings.
Yes. Pete Hegsteth.
Yeah,
Hegsteth.
and anybody else that they want to throw up there and throw a few barbs at. I'm okay with that. Let them cover it. John and Gordy are going to
sidestep it.
Sidestep it just a little bit. Yes, we'll let them analyze it, and then we'll come in and just kind of clean up
the mess. It's I did watch quite a bit of Pete Hegsteth.
Can you ever get that time back?
Oh my God, it is brutal, these hearings, and they just started. So
yeah, I'm not wasting my life on it.
I know. I can take about 15, 20 minutes, and I'm gone.
All of these nominees are going to be approved. The Republicans, for whatever reason, are going to see nothing wrong with any of these people.
Right. The best they could find on their side of the aisle, apparently.
The ridiculous questions they asked Hexa.
Oh, God.
We do have a Daily Show cut of that. They had a bit on it already.
Okay,
so
we'll
take a listen to it a little bit later on, and that's as far as I'm going to go. I think we'll depend on the Daily Show to analyze this stuff.
Okay,
this is like a Rorschach test,
It really is. And a little bit in our next hour, we'll have Mike McCabe in because it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we like to talk to him on Wednesdays. Thursdays, not so much.
No.
Fridays, he's gone.
He doesn't
busy.
care. He doesn't care about us on Friday.
Yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays, forget about it.
He's
but Wednesdays,
recovering from the weekend.
Yes.
So.
Wednesdays are his day.
One thing we're going to talk about with him is what's happened at Meta. And we're going to talk about what he had also talked about previous on one of our other segments with him, was the fact that we never regulated the internet in the first place. When it first started, we never took a look at it. The government never said, well, maybe we should regulate this just like we regulated television and radio.
Right.
So, but they didn't. And now this is the end result right here. This is what we're getting.
Did you hear the rumor or the theory that China is going to sell TikTok to Elon Musk? That's next. That's next on the burner. They may sell TikTok to Elon.
That is weaponizing our billionaires, isn't it? If that happened, that would be obviously a disaster. I mean, he's
got all the money.
Where did you hear this from? Where did you hear it from?
CNN.
What?
Yes, it's out there.
Man.
Yes. He wanted to buy MSNBC as well. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what if I bought that?
Well, when he buys it, he buys control of it. It's a power grab.
But there's so many things wrong
I know.
with all of this. Having somebody with so much wealth that they can do anything they want.
And I was thinking about all the rules that are in place with the FCC about how you can only own so many radio stations in a market. It used to be you could only own 2,
right.
An AM and FM. But those rules went by the wayside. Now these companies can buy up radio stations or TV stations or newspapers.
Yeah, I'd like to know when that went to the...
Yeah. You can only have so much of a share, but the internet's wide open. I guess you can own anything you want if you're Elon Musk.
There has to be some limits in there still.
There's no limit.
How many stations and how many...
Well, yes, I think there are.
There are still some limits.
Some limits in the FCC, yes.
But again... The internet never got any regulations at all. So now we can do anything we want.
That's right.
And you and I, we could buy as many of these social media companies as we want,
if
Gordy.
we had any money. We had any serious money.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, let's get to the National Day calendar and put our worries aside.
Hey, maybe we can get Sage.
Hey.
Throw in a little cat.
Think so? Yes. I think that's a great idea.
All right.
Okay. What is it today? Is it National Strawberry Ice Cream Day?
Mm-hmm.
Is it National Hat Day? Is it National Bagel Day? National Booch Day? Or National Mother-in-Law's Day? What day is it, or is it not? John Peterson, what is it not?
You always go to me first,
you want? Okay.
If Sam knocked one out, then I'd have a better choice.
Okay, Sam.
Get
Let's go to you first.
Go ahead.
It's not Booch Day, whatever that means.
Well, you're wrong.
Oh,
it is Booch Day. We'll find out what it means in a minute.
Okay, it's not Mother-in-Law's Day.
You are correct, sir.
There you go.
You get a shiny new dime added to your account. Okay, what is National Booch Day, you may ask? Booch. Okay. Booch Day, also known as National Kombucha Day, there's a hint for you, is a delicious way to celebrate with kombucha fans. Kombucha, or booch, is a lightly effervescent fermented beverage with a bold, invigorating taste, with flavor options from sweet to tart. I've never heard of booch. Have you heard of booch?
Nobody calls it booch, as far as I know.
Kavita Master Brew Kombucha, I guess most people would know it, pairs well with any meal and has billions of live probiotics in every bottle.
That's what it's all about.
Is that?
My roommate is trying to make some right now.
What? Your
Except
hat?
What is on your head?
What happened?
My hat, because it's hat day. Over
You
top
pulled
of
a fast one on us.
Yeah,
We looked away for a minute, and then all of
a sudden
you're wearing a hat.
A big pink hat.
Yeah, over top of the headphones, so I've got gigantic ears.
Yeah.
But my roommate is trying to make kombucha, except he's been gone for like 3.5 weeks on winter break. So he's got this bacterial mess that's just fermenting in my living room.
Does he know that?
Yes.
You can't let that go
I don't want
wild.
I don't want to just throw it out.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be back hopefully this weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And it stinks. I'm sick of it being
Oh
there.
my God. Oh no.
Jeez.
Well,
Booch. Okay. It's National Bagel Day.
Yep.
Have a bagel today. I don't know.
Sure.
We don't need to go into that
No.
one. National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. And let's see, National Hat Day, since Sam put the hat on. Hang on to your hats and celebrate in style. On National Hat Day, celebrated each year on January 15th.
Yep.
Don your favorite fedora, your cap, your derby, or your sun hat.
Oh, yeah.
Dig out your ceremonial best and tell the story behind. Sam, what's the story behind your hat?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's not much of a story. It's
Okay.
It's a
Then
It's
the
a
end.
pink. It's a pink
It's pink.
hat.
It's a pink beanie. Yeah, it's from the winter the scout camp that I work at, and from when I was a kid. I got
Okay.
it there.
Okay, pink though.
What's
pink.
wrong with pink?
Well, it's
Pink.
pink.
Yeah, there's,
It used to be a brighter pink. It's been washed many times.
Okay.
You can't handle
Pink
it,
is
can you,
well,
John?
pink used to be associated as a woman's color.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
right. That's right.
I don't
That's-
think it is.
you don't
I mean,
think
it is
so
some
anymore?
Still, but
Okay.
not as much as it
I
used
have to
be.
say that my son also has a pink sock hat as well. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing.
It says here we wear hats for numerous reasons. Many hats protect us from elements or harm. Others were worn for ceremonial or religious reasons. Some hats just make us look good or cover. You're not a hat person, are you, John?
Well, I wish I could wear a hat with my Longmire
Oh, yeah, with your
Coat.
Longmire coat.
Yeah.
You'd need a nice big
because it would look
cowboy
really
hat.
good. It would
Yeah.
look good with that. I agree, but like I said, my hair sticks out on the sides. The thing is, I have this huge head.
It
No,
is
really,
pretty massive.
seriously, a really
Massive.
massive head,
Yeah.
and it's shaped in a way that you can't get a hat on it.
You know what I miss is Sacred Feather, the hat store down here on State Street.
I do
Remember?
too. I do too. You
that
go
was
in there
such
and
a
get,
great
yeah,
place.
Great choice for hats.
And yes, unbelievably
Yeah.
great choice for hats.
I miss that.
Okay. We'll come back with more of the National Day calendar and check out the history books, birthdays, right after this.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever.
97 WMDX. John and Gordy in the morning.
It's National Strawberry Ice Cream Day.
Yeah.
Strawberry ice cream. It's really good
It is when it's made well.
when it's made.
As long as they don't add a strawberry flavoring to the ice cream, then I'm good with it.
Well,
Just
how else do they make it? Do you think they use pink cows
No.
to make it?
No, it's not supposed to be pink. Then you have
Just have some strawberries
You have
in
the
there.
strawberry flavoring, which really isn't strawberry-ish flavoring. So I hate that stuff. No, you just add strawberries to it. And the strawberries that you add to it, the little hunks and chunks of it, add the flavor to the ice cream.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I think
You
of
could
strawberry ice cream, I don't think of like vanilla ice cream with strawberries in
You
it.
don't?
I think of pink ice cream that is strawberry flavored.
Well, that's the junk ice cream. That's the
You don't
that's
want
the
that.
Oh,
bad-
hey, Mr. High Class.
That's the bad. Yeah. I only buy the best. But I got spoiled by the best ice creams out there.
We were talking about hats and Sacred Feather Hat Shop that
Yeah.
was on State Street
Yeah.
for
There
so
was
many
another-
years. It was such a really great place. I mean, it was.
And
they had
it was there
beautiful
so
hats.
long, that means that people were out there buying hats on State Street.
And whatever happened to it?
Yeah. And why didn't they sell their business to somebody else,
I
right?
don't know. Anyway,
See, we're in the market for hats. I think there may be a return to hats.
maybe. Should we start a hat shop?
As we near
John and Gordy's hat shop.
the next great recession.
Yeah. Get ready to buy a hat
Yeah.
shop. Huh?
We've got our overcoats and hats and sitting out in the street with our cans asking for soup.
Yeah, you can stand in a bread line. Be picture perfect replication of the 1930s.
You know, get ready for that. Yeah. All right. Well, enough about hats. I mean, they go back to the Middle Ages. Military hats are big. You know, it tells what branch of the service you're in. Hats.
You just said enough about hats.
Okay,
and then
get
you went
on
to
with
go and
it.
talk about them more.
Hats are kind of funny too. When kids are growing up, they find hats interesting.
hats.
Some of them latch onto a
Like
weird
propeller
looking,
hats?
weird
the
looking
top.
hats.
Baseball caps.
It's not just that, but the kind with the earmuffs and the big ridge, furry ridge on the top,
right.
Yeah.
on the side. A friend of my son's friend had a hat like that, and that kid would not go any place without that damn hat on. And it was just so cute, so weird looking, but his parents could not separate that hat from his head. And I'm just thinking, my son also had a hat too, and he just wore it all the time, briefly though, only just for a couple of months, kind of caught on, but then. But when you have a kid that's just obsessed with a hat and really has to wear it all the time, that's kind of fun. And for a parent, it's entertainment.
Yeah. Watching some breaking news right now from CNN. TikTok preparing to shut down in the U.S. on Sunday. So all you TikTokers out there, get ready to, miss it, I guess.
Well, from what I understand, Congress may be trying to extend it by, half a year or so before it shuts down.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with that. It's not saying anything up here on the screen yet, but
about Elon maybe buying it? Because
Well, no, not Elon buying it, but I think that Congress might come to the rescue.
I've already seen people posting on other social media platforms the alternatives to TikTok that they're encouraging people to follow them on. Apparently one is called Red Note, and it looks exactly the same. I wonder if it functions exactly the same.
Really?
It's got
Red
the same
Note.
sort of algorithm like that, but that might be what we've got replacing TikTok coming up.
I'm marking that down.
Yep, Red Note.
Red Note.
Okay.
We'll have to check that out.
Okay. Sam, let's go to the history books.
There's
Open it up.
Quite a
Open it up, prepare for...
Wait a
prepare
minute.
for all-
No.
What? No.
We heard from CES
Yeah.
where now there's an app that can change your screen on your cell phone to a reader screen.
Yeah,
Much
that's not-
easier on your eyes.
Well,
Do you have
I guess
one of those
combining
now?
the two screen
Right,
technologies is
exactly.
new stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of
All
cool.
right, let's dial up the ebook version.
All
of
right,
the
there we
history.
go.
Okay. It's not as dusty. No dust. No coffee.
That's nice.
That
That's good connection this morning.
Yeah, high speed, 56K. What do we got in the book today?
What? We're asking you. What?
Today, I'm talking to myself here. So don't you ever do that? Today
All
in
the
1919.
We're doing that today.
Look at all these alternatives to TikTok. Go
There
ahead,
is
Sam.
Red Note,
No,
Lemon 8. Here, I'm going to write it down.
Lemon 8, flip.
Flip.
Oh, they just went away from the graphic. There's 2 or 3 more.
How
Go
come
ahead.
they didn't bring this up before, by the way? Now we're finding out about, right? We could have been talking about this for the last
aren't
half
proactive.
a year.
People aren't proactive. They're not going to change until they absolutely need to.
God.
I've never heard of Lemon 8 or Flip or
I haven't
Red
heard of
Note.
any of these.
No. Okay. Go ahead,
Anyway,
Sam. I'm sorry
back
to
to the
interrupt
history. It's okay, Gordy. I forgive you. Today in
Secret John and Gordy
1919,
signal here.
we got the anniversary of the Great Boston Molasses Flood. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Oh, that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So there was a molasses manufacturing company in Boston, and they had this really poorly made high volume tank. So approximately between 1.5 and 2 million gallons of molasses are inside of this tank, right?
Yeah.
And then it burst open, and it flooded the streets of Boston
This is
with millions of gallons of molasses.
it's hard to even imagine that 21 people died
Yes.
in this molasses disaster.
What a horrible way to
Yeah,
go!
I can't even imagine a more horrible way to go.
Yeah.
What
Did
the
they-
hell?
Did they drown?
Yeah, could they not have
I mean,
run
I
away
guess.
from molasses?
Like
Runs
they
really
say-
slowly.
They say it's slower than molasses in January, but if you got millions of gallons of the stuff, it probably moves pretty quick.
2 million gallons.
Jeez, that's just
Wild stuff.
frightening thought.
What else do we got? Today's the anniversary of the first Super Bowl, 1967.
Oh, okay.
Packers versus the Chiefs.
Yeah.
2001,
Packers won.
Wikipedia went online.
Mm-hmm.
I love Wikipedia.
I do too. Wokepedia, they call it now.
Yeah.
Elon does anyway.
Flight 1549 landed in the Hudson River in New York today.
Oh yeah,
2009?
Yeah.
pretty wild. And
And it's also Martin Luther King's birthday.
yeah,
Okay. All right, we're just getting started on Wednesday morning. A little bit later on, Mike McCabe will join us
and we've got Idiocracy
right around the corner
Right
on
around
John
the
and
corner.
Gordy.
As the 21st century began, human evolution was at a turning point, a dumbing down. With no natural predators to thin the herd, it began to simply reward those who reproduced the most and left the intelligent to become an endangered species.
Now listen, Grapehead. I'll explain it so even you can understand it.
You calling me a liar?
I ain't calling you a truther.
Idiocracy.
For the smartest guy in the world, you're pretty dumb sometimes.
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
And this portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show is brought to you by Verlo Mattress. Sleep better, dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. Find them on Madison's east side or west side, or just go online. Check them out there at verlo.com. Ask about their lifetime guarantee. Okay, it is 6:35. It's cold. It's 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Our high today, just 19.
We got a text here.
Yeah.
From Lynn out in Golden Valley.
Golden Valley.
They're still mining out there.
Okay.
I bet Trump threatened Zuckerberg that either he stopped fact-checking or he'd put him in prison. That was one of the threats, by the way. You
think so?
Yeah. Well, I know so. Yeah, he threatened him with prison. So I think that's why he took away the ability to fact-check.
And now he's going to be at his inauguration.
Yep.
Is that right?
After a lot of money. But, that's a good point, Lynn. That's what's really happening. These things take place all the time now.
Right. Yeah.
The billionaire class is certainly very happy about what's going on.
Yeah. Thanks for that text, Lynn. You can call us or text us at 608-879-8255. That's 879-TALK, or just get on the Civic Media app. So, Idiocracy today, John.
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you got
Well,
there?
Idiocracy. We got something here. This is a little back and forth on Fox News. Jessica's always out there plugging away for the liberals. And in this case, they're talking about Elon Musk, okay? And I thought we'd just play this if you can understand anything. They always try to talk over Jessica because they don't want her to say anything that anybody can understand or hear.
She's the only liberal
So that would
there.
be cut 58.
Okay.
All right?
Are you sure?
Tarlov.
Totally
And
understand
so
it.
it's like saying
I'm
we're
just
not going to
saying,
have cops where we know there's going to be a crime.
Well, you don't know that there's going to be a crime. This
yeah.
fire was predicted 5 days out, not months out when it went offline.
We've been hearing
there
about
were
fires
a number
in California
of people
for years.
in positions of power, like the Orange County fire chief, the LA County fire chief, the head of FEMA, even Elon Musk, who went to a briefing and heard from the fire command, who have all said that this wasn't about a lack of preparedness, that this was because it was unprecedented. If you have 100 miles per hour winds, so much so that the choppers can't fly for 27 hours, which was a crucial element of this, that it was too windy to be able to do it, then you can't stand there and blame them like this. I mean, these quotes are crazy, saying, firefighters have never seen these kinds of winds. The fires were, quote, unstoppable. Mother Nature owned us.
Yes, that's right.
That's it.
That's as simple as it gets.
Right.
And it's really simple.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe that's why my mega friend in Milwaukee didn't get it. He doesn't understand. He knows more about what happened in California than anybody in the country. And I can mention this to him. It's like blowing on a hot coal. Do you think these high winds are easy to navigate with helicopters and airplanes? Do you think it's possible to do something like that? He knows everything, and it's all because of the woke liberals in California causing all of this. We should have been redirecting the water off the mountains in the northern part of the state and redirect all that water into the L.A. area.
Even though it hadn't rained in like 8 months.
Right. A dry spell.
Yes. Gee.
So it's a combination of all that. And then, of course, I brought up to him, I said, well, you know what? I think the liberals next time should at least put some strings on hurricane help. I said, Florida, they have these hurricanes every once in a while. And if they don't improve and put a little more woke stuff into their courses in their schools down there, then we will not help them with the hurricanes.
Right.
And he said, well, that's not the same. It's a natural disaster. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. Only it's like having a hurricane without rain, right? Instead, you've got fire.
Okay,
Replace
yeah.
the rain with fire. And you got the high winds and fire. A worse combination.
Yeah.
So,
And it's still going on, and the fires are not out yet.
no.
They're going to be
it's just
battling, these high winds gusted up again yesterday and day before. Yeah, so they've still got problems. But, yes, it's frustrating.
It is.
Yeah, people think, we've got the easy answer. Get rid of all the brush and all the, the tree. The tree branches that are on the ground.
Take an aerial view of our national forest and see how many people can get out there and rake the leaves on mountainsides covered with forest. Go ahead. Get out there. Do it. Do your thing. Wyoming, Yellowstone Park had huge fires out there.
Yes.
Did we say, well, unless Wyoming got some good gun laws, maybe, then we'll help you out.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
It doesn't
you don't do
work
that
way.
stuff.
No.
My God. Humanity. Where is it? It's hard to find. Oh, speaking of humanity, I have this. We could have something called web wisdoms. People are out there, they're speaking their onions on the internet. And I just thought, well, why not play a few of those wisdoms for us here so we could always. Do I have a musical intro for that?
I've never heard of web wisdoms before.
Well,
Have you made one?
I just made that up, but
Okay. We have some music.
what is it? What conversations? Talking. Talk. Right.
Talk.
Thompson.
There we go. That's it.
That's it. All right. Well,
This
we've got.
intro is going to be out of date in a week when TikTok doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
Yeah. We probably won't have a lot of this stuff unless we go to Red Note, Flip, Lemon 8. They had a few others up there too.
Yeah.
There's only it was able to write down quickly. But anyway, this I thought was rather interesting. I believe this is a bill that is being proposed in the House. So let's listen to what this fella has to say. This is 51.
On Congress's website, there was about a dozen bills that were introduced to the House today. They haven't gone anywhere. They haven't done anything with them. They're just basically there. Here's something interesting. So this is House Resolution 7. This is the first one I've read because it caught my attention just by reading this on the summary page. Recognizing the importance of access to comprehensive, high-quality, life-affirming medical care for women of all ages.
Okay, that's
Now,
good.
when I read this, I want you to think about what we know from Project 2025.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're ready.
So there's a whole bunch of language in here, right?
Yep.
Recognizing the importance of access to comprehensive, high-quality, life-affirming medical care for women of all ages.
All right.
Okay.
Whereas healthcare for women should emphasize the whole woman, including her physical, mental, and spiritual wellness.
Got it.
You're thinking this isn't that bad.
No, it's not
All
bad.
right. So they're recognizing that we should be in tune with our bodies and be able to make the decisions. Whereas healthcare for women should also address the needs of men, families, and communities as they relate to women's healthcare. So there it is.
Yep.
And this is brought to you by that slimeball Biggs in Arizona, Mr. Biggs, and then Mr. Higgins of Louisiana. So if that tells you anything. So that's the first one that caught my eye. Whereas healthcare for women should also address the needs of men.
I love that. That is something else.
Address them. Okay.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, the needs of men.
That should be included in healthcare for women.
That is truly just breathtakingly shocking. God, what is happening to this country? Oh, man, the megas are way out of whack. Way out of whack.
We got another text here from Lynn in Golden Valley. Actually, the water issue in L.A. sounds like that old Jack Nicholson Chinatown movie about a fake water shortage in early L.A.
That's right, yes.
To force government to invest in a canal to bring water from Northern California to Southern California.
Yeah, it's crazy subject matter for one of the great movies of all time, Chinatown.
Yes.
I love that.
Man. Jack Nicholson.
I know.
Yeah.
Riveting
prime.
performance. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of water, we have our great water parks here in the state.
Yeah.
Last summer, Mount Olympus Water and Theme Park in the Dells opened a brand new water slide. I did not know this.
Yes.
Called the Rise of Icarus, which is now the tallest water slide in the country.
I've been on it.
You have?
Yeah, when I was in Mount Olympus earlier, or I guess last year now, had to wait in line for quite a while, but
You plunged 145 feet into a pool? Are
I
you
suppose
kidding me?
I did. Yeah.
Well, okay, but wait. There's more.
There's more.
The Kalahari Resort, Wisconsin Dells, just announced that it'll be adding a massive $85 million, 75,000 square foot expansion that will add 3 new water slides plus a 4-lane racing slide. Now, why didn't they do that before? That'd be kind of cool. Racing with your friends, getting up there and going down, see who can race down fastest, right?
Right.
And this is going to be like a domed thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be clear, open air type of thing in winter. That'll be fantastic. Wouldn't that be great?
That's at Kalahari, yeah.
Yeah, that's Kalahari. They're putting that in.
Oh, that's
so
huge. Yeah.
And there are water shortages out in California, but we've got enough here for water parks.
You bet.
The biggest in the world, right?
Being right along the Wisconsin River there, they have access to water, quite a lot of water. It's a big. They have more water
purify
parks.
it, man.
Well,
it's
they have more water parks there than anywhere else in the world.
They really do.
Yeah.
Let's go to something. I'm getting tired, of the Trump administration. They haven't even
already.
They aren't even in power yet. I can't stand it anymore. I really can't. Well, here we've got another text from Doug in St. Francis in Milwaukee. Yeah. Everybody on the internet is a trained fire expert. The truth is, the Dells area water parks have sucked almost all of the water out of the area.
Thank you for keeping us up to date on that, Doug.
Well, we wanted to keep that a secret.
We didn't want anybody to know.
We didn't want California to know, or else it'd be on our case. But let's get to Jack Smith. I want to get to this really quick. I'm just tired of all this stuff. Okay. It contains a factual recitation of Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election, including his pressure on state officials, the fraudulent electors plan, his pressure on the vice president, and a section on how Trump supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. In effect, it mirrors the landmark federal election subversion indictment that Smith brought against Trump in 2023, retooled in 2024 after the Supreme Court immunity ruling, and ultimately withdrew after Trump's victory in the November election.
Wait a minute. Can you run that by us again?
Did you miss that part?
I lost something.
Smith assessed that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. Mr. Trump's letter claimed that dismissal of his criminal cases signifies Mr. Trump's complete exoneration, and Smith said that is false. Of particular concern was that the special counsel couldn't find a past case of prosecuting someone inciting, assisting, or giving aid or comfort to rebellion or insurrection. That's one of the holdups. Instead, the rare previous prosecutions dealt with someone who directly engaged in the insurrection, according to the report. And I think Don pointed out something yesterday afternoon. He actually read some of this.
Okay.
Found out that they were also kind of leery about the idea of prosecuting Trump because he did it from within the government. So far, they have only prosecuted, very few prosecutions, of people who have incited insurrection outside of government. So they weren't sure how
they could prosecute it,
how the prosecution would go if it was caused by somebody from within the government. They weren't sure how the courts would react to that. I think he brought up a really good point on this. Because they're always worried about how things are going to look and how they're going to wind out, through the judicial process.
Right.
So that's another holdup. And that's why they, just threw it out, because he got elected and he got away with another one. Right?
Yes.
This lawfare thing is a real failure, folks. It's not working.
And on it goes.
Yeah.
6:49, coming back with more. What the U.S. should do with Panama, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Big story. Coming up on John and Gordy. downtown Madison. John and Gordy in the morning, 92.7 WMDX.
And where the action was in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, what was going on there?
Well, it's funny that sometimes Pete Buttigieg is criticized for not making it out to the rail accidents in a timely way. But here we have the fires out in California, and all of the Republican representatives from California went to Mar-a-Lago during the fires. Isn't that,
Why would they go
Is
there?
maybe something, I don't know. Is there something wrong with that? Maybe, no criticism. No self-criticism, anyway. All right. Anyway, Mar-a-Lago, busy place. The governors went on down there, Republican governors only, of course. This is a very exclusive club, by the way. We're going to get 4 years of this crap. Help me, please. Hold my hand on this one.
I'll try.
Oh, God. All right. So anyway, this is Trump telling them all about his plans for Canada. Let's listen to 61 here.
Not utilized. In some cases, they're protected, which I can take that protection off. And you take down a tree and you grow a better tree. That's, pretty common. But we don't need anything. We don't need their fuel. We don't need their energy. We don't need their oil and gas. We don't need anything that they have. And I said to Trudeau, I said, why are we subsidizing you $200 and $250 billion a year? He said, I really don't know. And I said, well, I don't know either. I said, what would happen to Canada if we didn't? He said, Canada would be obliterated if that happened. I said, then Canada should be a 51st state.
There you go.
I'm trying to follow the logic there. But.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like anyone would have said what Trudeau said. First. Sounds like a fabricated story just to bring up his joke about being the 51st state. And, the entire housing market almost collapsed in the United States when there was this war on wood.
Yeah, lumber.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he may not know that story. Somebody should at least familiarize him with what happened during that. But yeah, we don't need them. Oh,
No.
let's try that one again. Okay. In fact, the dairy thing blew up as well. Cheese. We had a surplus of cheese, and cheese prices plummeted in this country. Milk prices plummeted because we had too much supply. We don't have a way of regulating milk supply in the United States. Canada, though, has a way of regulating it.
Do they?
So prices are stable. Farmers don't go out of business. And there has been a debate whether that kind of system should be brought into the United States for dairy farmers. In fact, we should talk to the Farm Babe about this. Yeah. So anyway, we need Canada, just to kind of bottom line it. All right. So then let's talk about Panama now. This is 10 years ago. Somebody recommended a mission in Panama where troops were trained and, they were going to be there to protect Panama rather, with U.S. troops. And this is an individual who did that. And let's listen to cut 33. All right.
10 years ago, I commanded a combined special operations mission to Panama where Marines, sailors, and Colombian special forces trained the Panamanian public forces on how to do drug interdiction patrols on the Canal Zone and in the jungle surrounding the Canal Zone. And you're right, the public forces in Panama are sort of a combination of our National Guard and military. They are professional, they are pro-American, and threatening to do battle with them is outlandish. It is not how a great power acts. If President Trump has concerns about the Monroe Doctrine in the Western Hemisphere, if he has concerns about Chinese influence over the Canal Zone through its shipping operations on either side of the canal, make that case to Congress, try to negotiate it through diplomacy, but it would unravel key elements of international trade and norms for us to even threaten force. If we want to combat Chinese influence over shipping and ports, we should take the fight to their backyard. We should join the Trans-Pacific Partnership in the Indo-Pacific. We should expand the Development Finance Corporation, and we should be building ports and trading with countries like Indonesia or Singapore or Malaysia, countries that are in Chinese neighborhood. That is the way for us to counter their influence.
That's right.
Interesting.
and invest in Panama as well.
Right.
You know, because China is putting all these different ports in, they're upgrading, and I don't believe the U.S. is doing that. So maybe we should invest in the Panama Canal, okay, and pay the fees because there's a drought down there, and the water is just a little bit lower than it needs to be for the huge ships that pass through there. So that's one of the big problems.
We just need to dig it into a bigger hole, right?
That. Yes, well put.
Sure.
How much time do we have?
A little
Minute
under
and a half.
Yeah.
A minute and a half, yeah. Okay. But you know, this is what's developing. Okay, he isn't even president yet, and these are the things that are churning around in the background: Canada, Greenland, the Panama Canal. All of this stuff is, and everybody's getting really angry. Mexico, of course, is retaliating as well. So all of this is taking place within our own continent.
Why don't we? How about Australia? That hasn't come into the conversation yet.
No,
that'd be a nice country to own.
That's right.
Let's take that one. Throw that one out there. You know, nobody ever. Australia doesn't get the recognition it deserves.
You're right. You know. New Zealand, you know.
They got kangaroos and stuff.
Well, I don't know.
Exotic animals.
I personally think, and from the movies that I've seen, Aragorn is still in charge of that area. So,
Think so? Okay.
Middle Earth is, you know, very, very powerful at this point.
Coming up in our next hour, Mike McCabe will join us, Substack author. And we will come back with more of John and Gordy in the morning. The big story coming up.
Again, the water shortage of the Panama Canal, Dell's Water Parks.
Thank you, Doug. We'll come right back.
Gordy in the morning. As we were saying, let the sun shine. It's the John and Gordy Show.
Some kind of intro of some sort. Some kind of,
Isn't that intro enough?
well,
Gordy helped make that
Well,
like
I-
40-something years ago.
I always expect some kind of little,
Announcement?
something.
Message?
Yeah, but here we are. Back on again. 90 caught me by surprise. 92.7 WMDX. John and Gordy in the morning.
7 minutes past the hour. It's clear and really cold this morning. 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's no wind. 19 for a high today.
Yeah.
Okay. And this portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show brought to you by Verlo Mattress. Sleep better, dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. Find them on Madison's east side or west side, or just go online at verlo.com.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a billionaire takeover of the country. And this is the big story that we're featuring today here. As we watch the billionaires starting to buy up everything and take control of everything we own and do and tell us what to say and when we can say it.
That's just the trend, right?
Yeah, it's just what's happening. I don't know if we can ever take it back because once they own everything, they're certainly not going to let us,
have a piece of the action.
piece of the action, anything. Yeah. So
Have any say
while we
about
watch the
anything?
billionaires loaded up in the Trump administration, what will happen to representation? What will happen to the blue collar worker living paycheck to paycheck? What about the forgotten American? I'm
what
using
about them?
I'm using all the cliches they used during the campaign. Well, I don't know. Are they going to get some kind of say in any of this? I doubt it.
No.
And this made the rounds on Twitter. We don't call it X anymore. Right?
Why don't we?
We're kind of rubbing it in.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
It's Twitter.
Screw him, So, Twitter and all social media, this really made the rounds. This is New York University Stern School of Business professor Scott Galloway. And he
Okay.
was talking about this billionaire takeover. So let's listen to it. Cut 42.
4 years ago, the term was called moderation. Now it's being called censorship. And with this decision, the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, gets kind of a twofer. He gets to placate, at least temporarily, the president who threatened to put him in jail for the rest of his life. And he gets to save maybe upwards of $5 billion, which is how much they spend on their safety and security department. And at a price earnings ratio of 30, that's potentially a $150 billion increase in market capitalization. Mark Zuckerberg owns 15% of the company. So you have what is effectively a get out of jail card potentially from someone who appears to be an oligarch threatening to put people in jail and add $15 to $20 billion to his net worth. So we've gone full kleptocracy. We can never, in my opinion, wave our finger at Russia again when the president, the elected president, is taking public trust and public authority and weaponizing governments and doling out capital and market share and contracts and threatening to use regulatory action against the competitors who don't give money to his inaugural committee or don't kind of bend the knee. We are effectively in a kleptocracy. We are becoming more like Russia every day. That's where we are. But where's the leadership? Where are the men that have such blessings and such prosperity from the rule of law and capitalism and competition? And we don't need more mergers and acquisitions. We need more breakups. One company owns 2/3 of all social media globally. Meta. One company has 93% of all share of all search. Google. One company has 50% of all e-commerce. Amazon. I think it comes down to a basic question. What is America? And my kind of economic role model is Peter Drucker. I think an economy in America exists to create a robust middle class. It's the greatest innovation in history. It's not the iPhone or the semiconductor. It's the American middle class that beat back fascism in the middle of World War II, has financed and built the greatest innovations, whether it's radar, whether it's the internet, whether it's vaccines. The middle class in America is the greatest innovation in history. And people like to fall back into this right-wing notion that it's naturally self-healing. It's not. It's an accident in history. Typically throughout history, you have a small number of people who weaponize government. They're very talented. They aggregate power. They weaponize government, and they aggregate more and more spoils. And then the good news is it's self-correcting. This level of income inequality is usually self-correcting. The bad news is the means of self-correction are typically war, famine, or revolution.
Yeah.
But this misdirect talking about tax rates misses the point. It's the tax code, which has gone from 400 pages to 4,000. And that 3,600 pages, quite frankly, is there to screw the middle class and continue to transfer more money to the super wealthy. The fastest growing demographic group in America is not seniors. It's not Latins. It's billionaires. We had 500 billionaires 10 years ago. We now have 2,500. So if you want to cram more and more wealth into a smaller group of people, we're on our way. And the weird thing about America is that we support it because our superpower is our optimism. The Achilles heel is that 99%, the bottom 99% who are getting screwed, don't mind these policies because they believe at some point they're going to be in that 1%. When 40% of U.S. households are struggling with some sort of medical or dental debt, when a quarter or 20% of households with kids are food insecure. Just let me go to the psychology of happiness. I think a lot about happiness because I struggle with it, Joe. Once you get above a certain level of wealth, you get no incremental happiness because the difference between $30,000 a year for a household and $50,000 is enormous to the well-being of that household. Low-income kids in low-income households have higher resting blood pressure. But the difference between making $10 million a year and $15 million a year offers you no happiness.
No benefit.
Boy, that's the truth.
Isn't that just an amazing rant?
It is.
It nails it perfectly. And I think Dick has, I think he's going to bring up something very similar to this. Let's go to the telephone here. And Dick, what do you got for us?
I got a good friend that was kicking this stuff around yesterday after talking to him. And he goes, you know what they're going to be after? The biggest money pool out there is Medicare, Social Security. And in the 17 tax cut, it really imploded the economy because it didn't do anything to help the average person. And he goes, this time they're going to offset this huge tax cut by raiding Social Security and Medicare.
Yeah, that's they've come right out and said that, Dick. They've actually said that they're doing all of these cuts in order to finance the tax cuts that they're going to give to the billionaires. Yeah.
Right. And he looked at one of my little Post-its in the garage. I had that Time magazine thing with Trump on it. But then I had a smaller picture of Mussolini in there too.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, wait a minute. What do you got there? I said, well, notice what I got written down. It says, be careful, Donald. Sometimes things get upside down.
Well, there you go. All right, Dick, I appreciate that. We're going to get to another aspect of the problem we have in this country. And again, it's health care. People are afraid to go to the doctor because of the costs. And we have the worst possible system in the entire world. No one wants to have this kind of private system where they can, basically call the shots. They can keep care away from you. We found out, the insurance companies are doing that now because of the assassination of a corporate executive now, but it opened a lot of eyes, and now people are understanding that insurance companies are pocketing a lot of stuff. They're the middleman. They're just taking the money.
Right.
And a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars worth of money. And we're funding, believe this or not, we're funding as taxpayers the health care of our representatives, are the politicians who represent us. They're keeping health care away from us. And let's go to our little talk segment again here. Web wisdoms. Those people on the web speaking their onions and saying what we want to say. And this is Dr. Eric, and he plays a little clip here and then responds to it about our healthcare system. This is Cut 34.
You don't have a right to free healthcare because healthcare requires other people's labor, and you don't have a right to other people's labor. You don't have a God-given right to anything that requires other people's labor.
Hey there, I'm a doctor. I'm the labor of which you speak. And I hate to break it to you, but everyone deserves healthcare. Literally everyone in this country deserves access to healthcare regardless of their ability to pay for it. You see, you have been brainwashed by the capitalist rot that is absolutely destroying this country. You are literally towing the line of ultra-wealthy billionaires who don't give a shit if you live or die. You're viewing healthcare as some individual concern that can be commodified and used to turn a profit and make shareholders of these insurance companies even more money off the backs of sick and dying people, which is an inherently corrupt system. And we really need to stop looking at healthcare as a commodity and look at it for what it really is, which is a fundamental human right and a societal need, because society functions better when people are healthy. And society already recognizes that we fund services like infrastructure, firefighters, emergency services, education, because they are essential and they benefit all of society. So why shouldn't healthcare be any different? And just because something requires someone's labor doesn't mean we should withhold that labor from someone who is sick and dying and in need of it just because they can't pay for it. Do you see how that is just inherently evil? Have a great day.
All right, there you go.
Wow. Drop the mic.
Yeah. Physicians, they have the Hippocratic Oath. They're there to help people no matter what. And they get into it not because they're going to be wealthy or rich. They know that they can make some money doing it, obviously, but a lot of that money goes to pay for their college costs, their tuition. But anyway, that's why prices are so high in this country that it takes an awful lot of money to become a doctor. And they've got to pay off their bills eventually when they do become a doctor. And a lot of countries out there have already paid for the education of their doctors and nurses to make up for that so they can bring the price of healthcare down in the service part of it that, we are affected by. And then, of course, it brings the price down for their universal coverage in their country. So they've got a way to do this stuff, and we can do this stuff as well if we wanted to. But again, doctors don't do it because they want to make money. They do it because they're driven to it, just like teaching is exactly the same thing, or artists doing their work.
Seems like the insurance companies have all the power, though, because they own the politicians to make the rules.
Yeah.
And how do we break that system? I don't know.
You've got to do it somehow.
18 past the hour, back with more of John and Gordy in the morning. Mike McCabe coming up in about 15 minutes.
When it's all double talk of insanity, the American dream is killing me.
So we got to get this in and out here.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Brittany.
Hey. Good morning.
Hey.
We've got a really long cut here, so we're going to play something. So it's 5 minutes, and
We're
we
doing
have
that
how much?
after,
Huh?
right?
Yeah.
Yes. But how long is this break? Not break. Segment, whatever
8
you want to
minutes,
call it.
10 seconds.
8 minutes, 10. Okay. All right.
So, Brittany, once again, it's just worked out this week. We're just keeping you a little short.
Yeah. All these things that are happening.
Because of the cold weather, you did this to us.
Yeah, we're getting back at you.
Yeah.
The apps are replacing me.
You have made our weather so boring. We can't make this exciting anymore.
No.
I'm going to start wrapping the weather. How's that?
There you go.
Wrap the weather.
Let me work on it first.
Can you do that?
Yeah, do
Not
that.
yet. I'm going
Are
to
you
work
a
on
rapper? Okay.
No, maybe not. I don't know. Well, maybe. Oh. boy.
20 seconds.
All right. The American dream is killing me.
I always thought a foul-mouthed weather person would be great on the weather.
Yeah.
And the radio.
Did you ever see that app, the WTF app or something like that?
92.7 WNBX. John and Gordy in the morning. This time once again. You're going to mention?
No. I was going to say it's cold out.
Yeah,
that's all.
It is very cold out. And let's find out just how cold and why it's so cold and if it's going to stay cold with
forever.
Brittany Merlot with us right now.
Good morning,
Brittany.
Brittany.
Guys. Hi. We're at the worst of it right now, and then we're going to go up and down and up and down, and just a big roller coaster ride with a little bit of snow in there too. So
like being at a water park. No.
Yes, the positives.
We have a water park theme going today. So.
Do you? Okay, we fit right in there.
All right.
Okay.
You've been to the Dells, right? You've been to the water parks there?
I love the Dells. It's so awesome. I'm glad we have that, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
But,
all right, weather-wise, so cold this morning, but then not too bad the rest of the week?
Not too bad. We're going to hit highs today, about low 20s. It'll be a breezy. We are looking at snow moving in late tonight, probably after 6 o'clock or so. A trace, not much going on there.
All right.
But tomorrow we will climb above freezing to the low 30s. It'll be partly sunny, not bad. And we hold on to some heat for Friday, hitting 40 degrees before we slide south. Yeah. Then we
We're
drop.
grilling out, by the way. That's what we're going to do.
Yep. Get the grills
Are you?
out.
Okay, you should. Everyone should. Because by Sunday, we're going to be a high of 5 degrees. So.
Oh, man.
What? Again?
Not again. What a downer.
Worse, too. I know. I agree. I'm sorry.
So a little bit of trace of snow tonight, and then any more snow, in the next few days?
There is a small possibility Friday afternoon and into the evening. We could see a little bit of a wintry mix turning over to some flurries as this cold front pushes through, but nothing major.
All right.
All right, Brittany.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
We appreciate it.
Guys.
Yeah.
Have a good
We'll
one.
talk to you.
Okay.
Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.
We've got this from The Daily Show talking about Pete Hegseth. Let's listen to it right away. Let's play it.
As their stories straight. Today, the Senate held its first confirmation hearing for Pete Hegseth, Trump's nominee for defense secretary and dude who makes sure everyone at the frat house has their stories straight. Now, since he was nominated a couple months ago, we found out a lot about Hegseth, and most of it does not inspire confidence. He's been accused of sexual assault. He was accused of nearly running a veterans group into the ground, and he has a documented history of excessive drinking, which we learned even more about today.
A Hegseth acquaintance describes a breakfast they had with Hegseth in the spring of 2023. We met at Fox News in New York for breakfast, and he suggested we go across the street to a bar. It was like 10 in the morning. Then he ordered 2 gin and tonics at the same time for himself. Then he had a 3rd gin and tonic.
Whoa! Whoa, Hegseth is rolling up to breakfast like, I'll have the steel-cut oatmeal and 3 gin and tonics, please. You know what they say, beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before liquor, I'll have another liquor. This definitely raises some questions for the person you may want to put in charge of the nukes. So, let's jump into today's confirmation hearing. And you know what, I'm not saying he showed up drunk, but it did start at 10 a.m. So how about we start with a quick sobriety test? Something simple. Pete, how about name your kids?
Our 7 wonderful kids, Gunnar, Jackson, Peter Boone, Kensington, Luke, Rex, sorry, it's a lot of them, and Gwendolyn.
Okay. Little tipsy, okay. Big deal, all right, no biggie. My dad was always mixing up me and my siblings' names, and he launched perfectly successful counteroffensive rapid deployment amphibious incursions into Iran all the time. Although Pete probably should have given his kids names he could remember more easily. Maybe like Don Julio, Jim Beam, Johnny Walker, Jose Cuervo, and don't forget Little Michael Hard Lemonade. Anyway, now that that's over, it's time for the grilling. Republicans, I know he's your guy, but I also know you love the military, so I'm sure you've got some hard questions for the man who wants to run it.
Why do you want to do this job? What drives you? Tell me something about your wife that you love. How many push-ups can you do?
Tough stuff there. Wow.
Follow-up question, sir. I have this jar. Could a big, strong man like yourself open it? Okay. But Democrats made up for those softballs with a couple pitches that were really high and inside.
I assume that in each of your weddings, you've pledged to be faithful to your wife. You've taken an oath to do that, haven't you? You've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017, and you were still married and you just had a child by another woman. Again, how do you explain your judgment? You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. But you didn't reveal any of this to President Trump. Why didn't you inform the commander-in-chief and the transition team of this very relevant event?
Oh, damn! Tim Kaine went full Maury Povich out there, huh? Wow. Tim Povich. Although, come on, Tim, come on. You're asking why didn't Hegseth tell Trump about how many times he cheated on his wife? Maybe because if he did, Trump would high-five him so hard it would break both their hands. Okay, that was a pretty wild line of questioning from Tim Kaine. Any Republican want to jump to his defense here?
How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No, but it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke.
Give me a joke. Okay. How about a priest, a rabbi, and Pete Hegseth walk into a bar at 10 a.m. Are you happy now, Mark Wayne? Huh? But I don't know if this was really the defense that Hegseth wanted, though. Look, we're all pieces of shit here. Let he without an Ashley Madison premium account cast the first stone. I'll tell you who else probably didn't appreciate that defense. The other senators. Yeah. They probably got home and their wives were like, I saw Mark Wayne at the confirmation hearing today. He said that everyone in the Senate cheats on their wives. Honey, you can't trust Mark Wayne. He's confused. The man has 2 first names smushed together. It's insanity.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, Mark Wayne. Wasn't that great stuff? I mean, I think that's summed up exactly. That's why I don't care, and I'm not listening. I'm not watching any of this stuff. Yeah. Tammy Duckworth, by the way, really raked him over the coals.
Yes,
she should be in charge.
She ought to. Yeah, absolutely. All right, it is 7:59, right around the corner. After we take a break for the Midwest Farm Report, Mike McCabe will join us on John and Gordy.
It's the John and Gordy Show.
John and Gordy in the morning.
As we were saying,
let the sun shine.
It's the John and Gordy Show.
Wake up with John Peterson and Gordy Young every weekday morning at 6 on 92.7 WMDX. What, are you going to go sleep with everyone in Madison? Why am I reading this?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm stunned. Stunned.
Good morning. It's 7:34. It's cold, 3 degrees.
It is.
Highs today about 19.
Is it still 3 degrees out there?
Okay. Check lately.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to put you on the spot or anything.
Does it really matter? It's still cold
It's
out.
cold. Let's leave it there.
Well, I mean, if there's a wind out there, it's even colder.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's not a... Wait, we could ask somebody who was just outside.
It's cold.
It's time once again for Mike McCabe.
Good morning, Mike.
From
Good morning.
Substack. Yeah. Was there a big wind out there? I know that
There's
in
not.
State Street. Okay. All right. Well, that's great.
So it feels almost balmy that way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. How you been? Doing all
I'm
right?
good, thanks.
Okay.
I'm thawed out.
Well, yeah. Well, you spent a whole, weekend in Florida?
I did.
Yeah.
A long weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. 65.
What part of Florida? Where are you?
Oh,
Where'd you go?
kind of the Cape Canaveral area, a little town called Rockledge.
Okay.
So not, kind of the east of Orlando.
Yeah.
Good.
How does it feel not or being in a place that is unwoke? Do you feel? I know, it's just ridiculous. This woke thing is driving me crazy. It's so stupid, and we've taken it so seriously.
You're ruining my vibe, John. That 65-degree weather, I was just soaking it in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there you go.
And now I've got to contemplate the politics of Florida.
That's right.
Tonight, we haven't mentioned this so far, but President Biden's going to make his farewell address to the nation tonight.
Oh.
And he's actually releasing a letter to the entire country. I don't know if we're getting that by the U.S. mail.
Well,
or
I hope we get the end. They need a little boost. But that's good. That's good to bring up.
It'll be interesting to see what he has to say
in
his final address. You have any thoughts about Joe Biden and how he's what's he going to do now? Is he going to write a book? What would you suggest he do?
I have no idea what he should do. And obviously, my feeling was that he really should have decided early on to be to just serve the one term,
yes,
and just be a gateway for the next the next figure to emerge on the Democratic side, and so to me, he did some good things. He had some accomplishments. I'll certainly grant those, but I think he overstayed his welcome.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we weren't really aware of his decline, and I'm not calling it just mental, but just decline basically. But I wasn't aware of it. When he gave remember the State of the Union speech, which is so powerful.
I was talking to some people about this, and I think the people who worked in the White House with him probably did the nation a disservice by not putting him out there in some press conferences on a regular basis. They avoided that kind of interaction for a long time, and it wasn't until that disastrous debate performance that people thought, oh my God.
Right.
And you could really tell. And in a scripted speech like the State of the Union, he seemed fine, but it probably would have been better for the country if he had done a half a dozen or a dozen press conferences so that was on display.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's we kind of kept it at bay, and people weren't able to experience that and see it for their
Right.
own. But
Right.
and then would have been the earlier pressure perhaps for him to step out.
Yep.
But again, I that State of the Union was so powerful and so right on, and he was quipping to the crowd, and I just thought, and then all of a sudden just right off a cliff, it seemed to me anyway. something we couldn't predict. I don't think we were hiding it. I just think that he should have known this and should have gotten out early and not given, the vice president only 3 months to try and beat somebody who's been pounding the administration for 4 years at rallies. He's been running his campaign for 4 years.
Never stopped.
Yeah, what might have been.
Yeah.
Well, and here we are.
Here we and now we're stuck with our social media acquiescing to the demands of, I guess, a billionaire, millionaire, and a whole bunch of billionaires who are giving him advice at this point. And this takes us all the way back to a discussion we had a while ago about regulating the internet and how we missed that opportunity. We missed that chance. You brought this up.
Yeah, I wrote a Substack piece some time ago about how the distinction between how we dealt with the emergence of the internet and how we dealt with earlier communication innovations like radio and television. At the birth of radio, at the birth of television, we decided to have a federal communications commission that would oversee that, and these enterprises would be licensed, and they would have public interest obligations, and they would have rules to follow. And when the internet was born, we didn't do any of that.
Right.
We didn't subject them to FCC regulation. We didn't create any kind of structure at all. We just allowed it to be the Wild West. And I think we are reaping what we sowed.
Exactly. So what do you think of these new policies? We're leaving it up to the readers on social media now to fact correct, and it just seems kind of crazy to leave it up to that. I mean, even that can be incorrect.
Well,
or misleading.
This doesn't have to do with truth or falsehood. It doesn't have to do with fact or suppression of free speech. This is not about censorship. This is just about a billionaire bowing to another billionaire who has a severe allergy to the truth. And this is capitulation to Trump, pure and simple. So what Mark Zuckerberg says to rationalize this decision doesn't bear any relationship to his reasons for doing it. But what we're going to have to all get much better at is doing our own fact checking. Not relying on some AI bot to do it for us, or not relying on whoever Mark Zuckerberg hires to do it, or not depending on other users of a social media platform to do it for us. But we each have to get way better at doing that for ourselves. And I'm grateful that I was trained as a journalist, because I learned those basic skills about researching and looking at multiple sources. Don't trust any one source, but look at multiple sources, because there's no my apologies to you for saying this, but there's no one out there in the media who's perfect and who never gets it wrong.
Well, I know I object to that, don't you?
Yes, we're deeply offended.
How dare you? You broke this facade that we've had for years.
What about the young journalists coming up? How do they get fired up to take all of this on? When after Watergate, journalism schools really were filled with people that wanted to do investigative journalism and to really ask the hard questions of
and I was one of those
politicians.
People.
Yes. Yeah. And, what about this next wave of kids coming up through journalism school, or how do they navigate this kind of world? How can they learn to fact check?
I think to a lot of us,
dig for the truth.
Yeah, for a lot of us, we have kind of allowed ourselves to buy into this narrative that the news industry is dying and that journalism is on its last legs. But I actually think that journalism is being reinvented. So it's a very exciting time, on the one hand, to be a young person entering this field. because a lot of people have fled,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these news operations have suffered in recent years. So now, unlike the Watergate era, when people flooded into this industry and everybody wanted to be Woodward and Bernstein,
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it was a tremendously popular major at universities. Now it's not such a popular major, but the people who have gone into this are going to have to be pioneers. They have to rethink and reimagine journalism, not only the way it's practiced, but also the economic models that it's built on. All have to be reimagined because all of that has kind of crumbled. And one of the things, my son is actually 25 years old, and he went to school as a journalism major. I didn't push him in that direction, and a whole lot of his family and friends tried to discourage him from pursuing it. But he pursued it anyway. And then he got a job out in Portland, Oregon, as a TV news producer right out of college. One of the things that was fascinating to me is that I went to journalism school, and I was in the print part of the journalism school. And so it was about becoming a newspaper reporter. Now it's all multimedia.
Right.
Now they learn to do print journalism. They learn to do radio, television. It's audio, it's video, it's online, it's everything. So it's all multimedia. And they're understanding that the way it's being done in the future is going to be different than the way it's been done in the past, and so it's an exciting moment because journalism has to be reimagined.
And I'm glad you brought that up because Washington Post columnist Jennifer Rubin recently quit.
Yeah,
and she and it's Norm Eisen have come up with a different source now, a kind of a middle ground news organization, and they're calling it the Contrarian, and they do have it on Substack. And this is, I think, where everything is going now, because Jennifer Rubin has been writing some amazing opinion columns throughout this entire election process. And she's really, really good. And she used to be a conservative, more a conservative column. And now, you wouldn't know her as being conservative at all. I mean, she sounds liberal at many points. But anyway, they have this new thing called the Contrarian. And I think, and I'm beginning to think, and I'm starting to think of opening up my pocketbook and contributing to these sources now, because I think, so many times we've been taking all this stuff for free, but now we're finding out just how valuable this information really, really is. And we're seeing the oligarchs out there, the billionaires, take over and actually start censoring people, like the cartoonist who left the Washington Post, or not endorsing a candidate in the editorial department, of all places. Obviously that's where you would do it. But now we're seeing that everything is being changed before our very eyes, not just subtly, but very openly. And I think at this point now, a lot of us are starting to rethink, maybe we should open our pocketbooks up. Maybe we should start funding these columnists who are very important to the discussion of what's going on today in our society, right?
Oh, absolutely. And there are some wonderful journalists on Substack, and I'm proud to
be part of that.
Be part of that community.
Yeah.
And you can have a free Substack if you want. You can also take paid subscriptions. I actually offer people both.
Yeah.
People can be free subscribers, or they can be paid subscribers if they wish to financially support the work. And there are some wonderful sources out there, and the Bulwark was started by people who were traditionally thought of as conservatives, but they're journalists first and foremost, and they're virulently anti-Trump, and they're trying to fight back, push back against the control that he seeks to have over the media.
Yes, Lincoln Project, Midas Touch, other groups as well.
We will come back and talk more with Mike McCabe on John and Gordy in the Morning in just a moment.
Dig this crazy pad. Man, it's a mad pad.
92.7 WMDX, John and Gordy in the Morning.
And this portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show brought to you by Verlo Mattress. Sleep better, dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. You can find them on Madison's east side or west side, or just go to their website, verlo.com. Back with Mike McCabe.
Yes, why don't we get into the area of people abandoning X or Facebook, or at least thinking about, I can't support these billionaires anymore. What do you think of that concept?
If people don't feel like they're getting good value from the experience, they should leave.
Yes.
But I don't think you should leave thinking that your departure over this issue of fact-checking gets to the root of how social media platforms are weakening democracy and making us more antisocial as a population. It doesn't get to the heart of the matter. Look, if you go on Facebook or any other social media site to keep up with what friends and family are up to and to look at photos and clever memes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if
specialized websites like, classic rock and roll, or some of the posters way back in the 60s and 70s, which I'm kind of following, some of the old commercials.
That, whatever draws you, that's still legitimate.
Yeah.
But to use Facebook or any other social media site as your news source is dangerous, because they are not news operations.
Right.
They are really they're commercial enterprises that are first and foremost marketing devices to capture an audience and deliver that audience to advertisers. And people are Mark Zuckerberg is saying that moving away from fact checking will end censorship on Facebook. Well, that's a bunch of hogwash. There is ongoing censorship that has nothing to do with truth or falsehood. If you link to a site outside of Facebook, you're already censored. The algorithm already is discriminating against your post because you're asking somebody to think about leaving Facebook, and they don't want you to leave Facebook. They want to capture you and keep you there so that you can continue to see more and more advertising.
Right.
That's what Facebook does. That's what Facebook is all about. And this issue of fact checking doesn't get to the heart of that matter. So what's so important is that people should use a social media site for networking, for seeing photos, for keeping up with what friends and family are up to, maybe even reconnecting with a long lost pal or an old high school classmate. But you shouldn't use it to get informed. You shouldn't use it as news.
Right.
Go find legitimate, trusted news and make sure you've got multiple ones that you're depending on. That's the answer. So if people aren't enjoying the experience, leave. But I'm not going to leave simply because of the fact checking decision that Zuckerberg has made. I can do my own fact checking. I've got a good BS meter, and I can do research, and I can figure out whether something is true or false. I don't need him to do that for me. But I'm more concerned about the other censorship that will continue to be ongoing, where they're discriminating against speech if it invites somebody to leave Facebook for a few moments.
Right. Exactly.
If you link to a Substack article, your post is discriminated against. It gets throttled. It's seen by fewer people. And the algorithms on Twitter have been rigged so everybody has to see what Elon Musk is saying.
Right.
So the billionaire gets seen by everybody, and somebody who has something really valid to say, like the contrarian content that will now be on Substack, if you share that, boy, does Twitter or Facebook discriminate against that. They don't want people to see that.
Absolutely.
That's the real censorship on social media, and that's exactly what good internet regulation, if it had been done, could have protected us against.
Well, I think our politicians are ignorant about the internet. I don't think they ever caught up. I think there's an age difference there. And I think that Mike Gallagher, a former representative from Wisconsin, who headed up banning TikTok, played into that. He played into the ignorance of our politicians, and they allowed this TikTok to be banned. And what that does is it takes competition away from Facebook and X, and now it just leaves it up to those media companies in the United States, and there's no outside competition whatsoever as long as TikTok goes away. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to take it away because it's a free speech area for a lot of young people, not just for businesses, but also free speech. They're actually telling it like it is. They're out there speaking and being political and being involved in trying to change our country, and they wanted to take that platform away. And now they're going to leave it all up to Elon. And if Elon does buy it, because China's spreading that rumor now, I mean, he can afford it easily. And now it all becomes a U.S. company, and we're just kind of leaving everything else up to the U.S. And no competition in this country anymore. I'm just sad that this is happening.
And so what it's really up to is people need to become imaginative and creative about how they get information to each other. And because there are certainly powerful forces that are seeking to prevent that kind of communication between citizens.
All right.
We got to leave it there. Mike McCabe, we're out of time. You can catch Mike, though, in Spring Green on February 1st at Arcadia Bookstore for book signing for Miracles on County Q.
And
Thanks, Mike.
We'll try to keep everybody up to date on all the other sources that are out there that are cropping up. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike. Tomorrow, Tim Slecker will join us from Busted Pencils. Have a great day. Stephanie Miller's next. So long.
John and Gordy Show.